everyone. This is another one of our Hago rerun tours. This was in November of 2022. We were in Central Park, and we show you a couple of the museums, Belvedere Castle, the Shakespeare Garden. Yep. And the Delacorte Theater. This one we call All About the Arts. So we hope you enjoy it. Again, November.
Governor? Hello, Governor. Why do we have such good lighting here? We're actually in the shade, and yet...
I don't know.
I feel like we look good. Welcome, everybody.
Good. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to New York. We're happy you're all with us.
How do?
On this fine day.
It is a gorgeous day. It's going to be another beautiful day out in New York. Oh, LS.
What did I say? 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius?
I didn't pay attention to you. Hi, Tiash.
Story of my life, am I right?
Hello. Hi, Natalie. Jenny, hello. Oh, Carol, hello.
Oh, yeah, I was right. 64 and 18. I had to double check.
Yeah, it's gorgeous today. Holy smokes. I'm just going to give you a peek of how green and lush everything is. Thank you, Carol Merrill.
You're welcome.
We're in the shade right now, but when we get going out into the park, it'll be sunny and pretty.
And you people.
Hi, Diane. Hi, Rosie.
Hello, welcome all. If you're new to us, welcome. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Patrick.
And we have about 8 minutes before we get going on our walk today.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn. Hi, Rianne.
Asheville, North Carolina. You guys need to... We did, Kenneth.
We did.
Love Asheville. We did a tour there.
Yeah. Not of the Biltmore, but of Asheville itself. Yes. But we did take I've done the Biltmore twice.
Oh, great. I've only done it once.
It was what I call PP, pre-Patrick.
Okay.
Thanks, Natalie.
Yes, we love Asheville. That's Nashville, Cindy.
Well, we saw Memphis.
That's Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the Ducks were in Memphis, Tennessee, but we did do Nashville as well, and we did Asheville. We met up with one of the Voyager's daughter.
Oh, son.
Her son.
He was she was watching, and she texted her son and said, "Oh, the guys I watch are in Asheville right now." And he said, "Oh, I'm downtown at a coffee shop. Where are they?" And he was literally right around the corner from us. So he popped out. Got your southern towns mixed up. I know. That happens to us as well.
Who was that? I can't remember now. It was her son.
I know.
And I showed him, and I was like, he looks good. He looks healthy.
Yeah, everything's good. Oh, right. And we saw Gentry in Nashville.
That's right.
Diane asked about the Majestic. I was at the Majestic twice years ago, Diane, in San Antonio. I was there with the Full Monty, the musical, and I was there with Annie, probably 2005 or 2006. It's been a long time.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, gosh.
Well, good luck, Lorraine. We'll be thinking of you.
We're sending you all sorts of positive healing and powers and love and lots of support from not just us, but I know our whole Hago community. They're so good about rallying.
We're glad we can be a distraction for you.
Yeah.
Take your mind off your troubles for an hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, someone wrote asked for...
And now knowing it, yeah.
Yeah, for our non-American friends, there is a chain. Well, is it still around?
I honestly don't know. I think it went bankrupt.
There's a grocery store chain called A&P. Initials, the letters A and P. And so a lot of times...
We actually have a sign in our kitchen, A&P sign, and a coffee scoop as well. Somebody asked what I played in Annie. I was in the ensemble. I did all sorts of stuff.
You played Bundles.
Bundles the laundryman.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pivotal role of Bundles the laundryman. Without Bundles, how is Annie going to escape the orphanage?
Exactly. Bundles helps Annie get out.
Yeah. There'd be no story. What about the Full Monty? I was also in the ensemble, and then I covered Dave, the role of Dave.
Where did you begin your career?
Well, I started off, I saw Debbie Boone in The Sound of Music at the St. Louis Muni.
That's interesting.
That is true. That's what first got me interested in theater. Debbie Boone as Maria von Trapp.
For those of you who might be new to us, first of all, please let us know in the chat if you're new to our tours. And also if you're new, Aaron and I both work in theater, if some of this conversation sounds strange. So yeah, that's what we do outside of doing these Hago tours. Thanks, Militia. Or is it Militia? You say Militia, and I say Militia. All right.
You say Felicia, and I say Felicia.
Militia,
Militia,
Felicia.
Felicia.
Let's call the whole thing off. Thank you, Trudy.
We're here all
There's
week.
only one Maria von Trapp, and that is...
And that is it.
I know.
Ah, Julie Anders. Somebody asked how long we've been together. A long time.
We met in 2010 and got married in 2016. The old ball and chain, am I right? I know you're so...
Judith from the Bronx. Used to have a little, now she's got a lot. She's still Judith from the Bronx.
We're waving uptown, Judith.
Yeah. Yep. And we're about a little over 3 minutes away from starting our tour. And we're actually doing it in reverse. We're going to walk backwards the whole way. No, we're doing it in reverse. So if you've done this part of Central Park with us before, we're doing it the opposite way.
Inside, not inside, Fraser. We wish. And we also try, if we can, we try to stick to public spaces. Just because, imagine if the two of us were inside the Met.
Yeah.
Just showing it off and talking loudly for other people that paid to get in. So we try to stick to public places.
And like singing Jennifer Lopez, Judith from the Bronx songs in the middle of the Met. I'd murder the person that was doing that.
Yes, that's the Met right behind us,
with
Diane.
my eyes. Yeah. And that's all we're showing of it. That's it. I'm just kidding.
No, we're going to give you a good shot right here at the top. We still have about 2.5 minutes, and then we'll get going.
Ryan is new, I think. Oh, wonderful. Yay. My allergies today, I tell you what.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That was getting a lot of people, right?
That was my grandma's phrase all the time. I tell you what. These
you.
Allergies today. I tell you what.
I tell you one damn thing. Yeah, I know it.
Jane says, welcome to any newbies. Agreed. Any newbies. I think somebody said Ryan's a newbie. If we have any other newbies, welcome. We're a little under 2 minutes away from kicking off our tour. No, Don.
No, we did not smoke anything,
Yeah,
Dawn.
and we're not smelling grass either. Or maybe you meant actual grass. No, I think it's just we walked through the park to get here, and I think it just kicked my allergies in. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Vicky's new. Oh, and Oregon. We love Oregon.
Oh, gosh. What a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah.
Vicky.
I think the Oregon coast, Vicky, is one of the most beautiful parts of our nation. I love it. I think it's an area of our country most people don't really know about. I see grassy alley.
Vicky, we didn't wrap up last night. You gonna be all right?
We
didn't wrap up last night reminding our newbies that we were glad they were there. They were Victoria. Was there a Judy? There was a Robin that was new last night.
I'm impressed.
Victoria and Elizabeth with an S.
With an Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm impressed. We're under a minute away from starting, and we're happy you're all joining in today. We're doing this is the third part of our Central Park series. We do 3 the Met in HD. I wonder do you mean the Met Opera? We're in front of the Met Museum.
Yeah.
But maybe the Met Museum has an HD program as well. I'm not sure. But I know the Met Opera does their operas in HD on the television. Opera. Yeah. We're at the Met Museum today. But yeah, this is the third part of our series. Oh my goodness, that tickle is still in my throat. I wish I had gotten a bottle of water.
I know. There's we do three Central Park tours, and we'd love to add some more. We could go with the North Woods maybe, but
it's
ding
time.
ding 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 ding. It's time to go.
Go time, everybody. Welcome to New York City. It is 5:30 p.m. here. in New York City. The temperature is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 18 degrees Celsius. It is a beautiful day to be in New York City. It's a beautiful day to take a Hago tour, but what day isn't a beautiful day to take a Hago tour?
True
Come
story,
on.
true story.
If you're new to us, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Patrick. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, let us know in the chat if you are new. We'd love to welcome you properly. This is a live tour. If you have any questions, please feel free to plop it into the chat. We usually have this tour is pretty easy for us to catch the questions because we don't have to deal with a whole lot of traffic. Although it is post-work hours here in New York, so the park, and it's a beautiful day, so the park could be busy, so we might be dealing with pedestrian traffic, but that's kind of fun. And that's all I have to say.
Pat W., well, welcome. We're glad you're here with us. There's also, for those of you that are new, if you don't already know about this feature, let me tell you, you can take pictures on this tour. Anytime that you see something you like, click that center button, and it'll snap a postcard picture, and that will be saved in your Hago profile. You can send those to your family or friends, or text them, or just enjoy them yourself.
Finally, if you're having any technical issues, there's 3 little dots at the top of your screen, probably in the upper right corner. You can click that to get some support from the Hago team, to get some technical support from them. Also, if you're enjoying our tour and you want to know more about our tours or us, there's the follow button at the top. You can click that, and then you'll be following our channel page, and whenever we post new tours, you'll get notified about what our new tours are. We'll mention at the end of the tour our upcoming tours. We have a few more this week, some really fun ones as well. So, and thanks, Pat. Pat just did it. And I think that's all I have to say before we get
Thanks, Joan.
going. Shall we get going?
Okay, thank you so much. That's nice of you. All right, so we're going to start on this beautiful promenade up to the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Look at that. It really is gorgeous. My goodness. So we're walking right along Fifth Avenue right now. The cars you see on our right are headed south down Fifth Avenue, and we're making our way up to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. If you've done this tour with us before, we are doing it in reverse order, and I'll flat out tell you the reason. It's because my show tonight got moved to 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. And so at the end of the tour, I have to hop on the subway to make it to my 7 o'clock show. My show is literally in an hour and a half, but we can still squeeze a tour of the park in. Why not?
Be fine.
I got a chicken salad wrap in my bag. I'm ready to go.
And a song in your
and a
heart.
song in my heart. So here it is, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, colloquially known as the Met.
Easy for you to say.
Oy. Although, as we were just discussing with, was it Vicky from Oregon?
Yes.
Yeah, Vicky from Oregon. That can sometimes get a little bit confusing because we oftentimes think of the Met Opera, but we have the Metropolitan Museum of Art as well. This is the largest art museum in the United States. Our lovely Patrick likes to call it the Cadillac of art museums.
It's the Cadillac of
or
museums.
Museums in general,
so
yeah.
Cool.
The building opened in 1872. The original building was designed by Calvert Vaux, as well as his collaborator Jacob Raymold. All the words are getting stuck in my mouth tonight. Calvert Vaux, by the way, is a name you're going to hear a couple times as we make our way through the park, because he's also one of the 2 park's designers. And we also have a little bit of a high Victorian Gothic style in here, and then a little bit of Beaux-Arts style as well, because in 1909, additions were made to the museum by McKim, Mead, and White, a very famous architecture firm here in New York City. And there's some modern additions throughout the building as well. It's kind of got a lot of different styles to it, but happily they all sort of work well together. They're harmonious, I'll say. It is, again, if you're just joining in, it's a beautiful day to be in New York City. The sky is blue. It's 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius. A little windy, but that's okay. It keeps you nice and cool. And Diane, there might be some Andy Warhol in here, but MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, is really where there's
a lot of it.
Yeah, and then the Whitney did a major exhibit of his. When did we went to that? It was probably 4 years ago.
Yeah.
A terrific, very comprehensive exhibit of his work. That was at the Whitney, which is down by the High Line. We'll actually show that on our High Line tour tomorrow morning. We'll be there tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Now take notice on the right, you can see these sort of Gilded Age mansions over here. It's actually Marymount School of New York, a Catholic school for girls. But it's made up of 3 mansions. You can kind of see the 3 there stuck together, the Vanderbilt, the Pratt, and we think the last one is the Clark Mansion. We actually haven't watched the Gilded Age series yet, but we hear it's terrific. But anybody who's a fan of the Gilded Age series on HBO, a little glimpse of it. Although they film, I believe, in Newport at the mansions there.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, Newport, Rhode Island. So again, we're doing this backwards than our normal route. So we're going to say goodbye to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and start to make our way into the park. And we're going to wind our way through the park. We're going to see the Belvedere Castle. We're going to see the Great Lawn. We're going to see a couple statues, of course, because there's so many statues in the park. We always like to show them off as we're passing by. We're going to see a couple bodies of water. Well, I guess just one. The Shakespeare Garden. And we're going to end over at the American Museum of Natural History. So a lot on our path today. And
the park is lit up beautifully. Look at those lush green trees over there. Also, this little playground right here is also kind of modeled after some of the Egyptian section in the park. If you see there, you can see all the Egyptian playground. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and there's literally the edge of the Met Museum that we're at right now is the Egyptian area of the museum. So the windows of that, it's all, which the glare won't let us see in, but you can see the windows right there. That's the Egyptian exhibit inside. So it looks right on to the playground where it's kind of Egyptian themed. And that tends to happen in New York a lot. The subways tend to have mosaics and art that highlight something in that neighborhood. And likewise, the playgrounds tend to highlight something that might be in that neighborhood as well. Not always the case, but that is oftentimes the case.
We show off one of those playgrounds in the Madison Square Park tour that is indicative to the area.
That's the Toy Soldier Park, and that's the toy building where all the manufacturing of all the toys happened throughout the 1900s in that area.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Fraser. I'll try to get a little closer to the microphone when I'm talking. Thank you.
So we also were going by a lot of traffic right there, Fraser. New York City, am I right? Also, I'm not helping you with the microphone. I have it more towards me there.
Okay.
So as we make our way into the park and up to our first statue, I just want to give you a little history and a little detail about the park. It's 843 acres or 340 hectares. The perimeter is about 6 miles or about 9.5 kilometers. It's about 2.5 miles from north to south, or about 4 kilometers, and about 1/2 mile from east to west, or about 0.8 of a kilometer. So we're going to be going a little over 1/2 mile today on our walk because we're going east to west today, but we're going to wind a little bit here and there.
It's a gorgeous day in the park. We're going to see lots of people out and about enjoying playing ball, and especially when we get to the Great Lawn.
Now, the park sees 38 million visitors a year. Let's see. Oh, we've got the walk. So this is one of the bike paths that we're crossing right now, and bikers do have to stop for us pedestrians right now. She's dinging her bell, but she doesn't realize we have the right of way.
Yeah, Diane, a little peoply, as I like to say.
We'll go through that way, maybe? Yeah. There are 58 miles of path here in the park, or 93 kilometers. 8 bodies of water. We're going to see one of them today. 36 bridges, 21 playgrounds, 9,000 benches, 26,000 trees. It's bigger than the country of Monaco. It's a living work of art. It's designed by Olmsted and Vaux. Now, Vaux, we already mentioned once, one of the designers of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The city had basically overdeveloped and hadn't plotted out green space as it developed. So they finally had a competition in 1857 to find designers for a park. The first part of the park opened in 1858, and it was completed in 1876. Now we'll pause on the information about the park for a minute to show you none other than a Broadway star right here, Alexander Hamilton. So this is carved from solid granite. It's by Carl H. Conrads. We're going to go to the side of it so that the sun doesn't beam right into it. This was donated to the park in 1880 by one of Alexander's sons, John. He was one of 8 sons. Alexander Hamilton, of course, was our first Secretary of Treasury, a co-author of the Federalist Papers, as well as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention.
I'm going to just turn the camera sideways here for a second, just so you can get the whole statue. I can go a little closer. You can snap a picture of this sideways and then edit that later to be right side up. But this way we can get a little closer and still get the whole statue, the pedestal and all. All right, there we go.
And he's quite a notable New Yorker. We even have a neighborhood named after him, Hamilton Heights. And of course, he lost his life in a duel with Aaron Burr. He's buried in Lower Manhattan.
I'm also just quickly going to show you, we're at the back of the museum. We just basically walked around it. Now we're just west of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And yeah, this is the back of it right here. All right, shall we move?
Yeah, move. We're going to make our way over to Cleopatra's Needle. And on our way there, I mentioned that Alexander Hamilton is buried in Lower Manhattan. He's specifically at the Trinity Church, which we point out on our Lower Manhattan tour where it is. We've gone by it once or twice, depending on the time of our tour. If we're running ahead, we skip over to show it through the fence.
You see how lush and green everything is right now. It's so gorgeous. You can see why everyone flocks to this park. And of course, as Aaron said, they didn't think about green space when Manhattan was first being developed. So they really did want to make Central Park a place for all New Yorkers. So it's, so beautiful, and you can see why everyone wants to be here.
It's our backyard.
Yeah.
It's where we sunbathe. It's where we play volleyball, softball, all the games. Where we picnic, all the balls, all the games, all the picnics, everything. And Patrick was mentioning about the overdevelopment of the city. So a gentleman named William Cullen Bryant is someone who we have to thank majorly for helping out to make sure that the city had the green space it does. He was the editor of the New York Evening Post, and he saw that the city was developing faster than they could accommodate this sort of relaxation space for the citizens. And so he fought hard and used the newspaper to push the city to develop green space, which they did. And now that's why we have Bryant Park, which I'm sure a lot of you know of Bryant Park. It's almost like in a way, our town square. It's kind of by Times Square. We do a tour of that as well, but it is named after him because of the work he did in order to make sure that we had green space here in the park.
First shot of the needle here.
So this obelisk, also known as Cleopatra's Needle, is over 3,000 years old, 69 feet high or 21 meters. It weighs 220 tons. Now, it's one of 2 obelisks that was commissioned around 1450 BC to commemorate the pharaoh's 30th year of reign. Each one was carved from a single slab of quarried rose granite. And
again, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go sideways again here, just so you can get the whole picture. So you are not drunk. Just know that if I do this,
you might be.
then, well, you might be. But this way you can snap that picture sideways again and then edit that to be right side up a little later.
I mean, look at the beautiful sky behind it, too. It's just really a clear, perfect day. It's just stunning. So, again, they stood for about 1,500 years before they were toppled in war, left to ruin. And then both of those obelisks were discovered in 18 AD. And they were moved to Alexandria and erected in front of Cleopatra's Colosseum. So that's when they got the name Cleopatra's Needle at that time. That's also when the limestone corners and these bronze crabs were added as well on the corners that you can see right there in the shot. Now, Egypt gifted one of the obelisks to the city of London in 1878, so some of you might know of that one. It still stands on the banks of the Thames. And the second one was sold to the United States and landed in the park on January 22nd, 1881. A good spot. Kind of get a nice little frame of the trees.
There you go.
Yeah. The glass windows that you saw there, Shoshana, they might have some solar panels, but those are glass windows that you're seeing right there. But they might have some that we just don't know about. You know, I don't know the actual, Joan, I don't know the actual reason for the addition of the crab, the claws. I actually don't know. Something I'll have to research. Thanks, Joan. There's also a time capsule buried underneath the obelisk. It contains the 1870 U.S. Census, a Bible, a Webster's Dictionary, the complete works of William Shakespeare, which is going to be quite notable as we make our way through the park. We're going to talk some more about Shakespeare, a guide to Egypt, and a copy of the Declaration of Independence. And that's the obelisk, or Cleopatra's Needle.
Dave Kay. Welcome, Dave Kay. Dave Kay is one of our fantastic Hagel guides in Dublin. So check out Dave's tours in there. I'm also going to give you another shot here of the obelisk from down here. The light is just catching it.
It really is.
So perfectly.
Just terrific. We actually have 3 obelisks in Manhattan. We have this one, and there's 2 others throughout the city, and they all, strangely, if you put their GPS coordinates down, they fall in a direct straight line.
Isn't that crazy?
Don't really know why, but there's got to be a movie there about that, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
We show one in the Madison Square Park, and then there's another one that we kind of gloss over in our Lower Manhattan tour. You do see it, but we don't talk too much about it in the Lower Manhattan tour.
Oh, there's a whole field of what are these little
alliums?
Alliums. These Dr. Seuss, what we call little Dr. Seuss flowers. These beautiful purple alliums. A whole field of them over here.
Now we're making our way up to the King Jagiellon monument. He was the Grand Duke of Lithuania, and he helped unite Lithuania and Poland, and became the king after marrying the Queen of Poland in 1386. And you'll start to see as we make our way up the path, the king coming into view at the top of this statue. And the statue itself depicts the king in the Battle of Grunwald in 1410, when he raised the 2 swords handed to him by his adversaries. So you can see him with the 2 swords. Well, once we pass this branch, why don't I talk about it right when the branch covers it, Aaron? Good job. There we go, with his 2 swords above. Now, this bronze sculpture originally stood at the Polish Pavilion at the 1939 World's Fair in Flushing, Queens, but the statue was unable to return home after the fair because of the Nazis' invasion of Poland. So the exiled Polish government actually gifted the sculpture to the city of New York, and it is still standing here as a symbol of Polish courage, which I think is a wonderful message to have right here in the park that a lot of people walk past every day and probably don't even realize what it's even about.
Really cool. Head over to the water?
Yeah, let's go to the water. So this is the pond, or turtle pond, that we're seeing right here.
We might be lucky enough to see some turtles today.
I mean, seeing these folks by the water makes me think we are going to have some turtle luck. So there are 5 species of turtles in the pond: box, snapping, musk, red-eared, sliders, and painted. Oh, I see some, look, on the rock itself. Hello, friends. We're doing a Hago tour. Would you like to say hi to 193 people from around the world? Look at them. So when the weather turns cold, they burrow in the mud at the bottom of the pond. Now, the pond was this was not a planned body of water in the park. There was a reservoir that was built in the park, and when the reservoir was no longer needed, they filled it in, but this small body of water remained. So it was an unplanned body of water, the newest body of water since 1937. By the way, a lot of these turtles were pets that people dropped off in the park, and they have since, obviously reproduced. They are darling, Tish. That's fun. So cute. Now, forgive us as we make our way back over the rock. It's a little climbing over Rocky Mountain. All right, and we're going to make our way over to the Great Lawn. There's King Jagiellon again. You can hear a plane going above us right now, maybe. And for those of you that might have tuned in late, we already been by the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we're about halfway through the park, and it's a beautiful day. It's about 5:50 p.m. here in New York City, 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius, with nary a cloud in sight. And the giant lawn you're going to start to see coming into view up here is known as the Great Lawn. The Great Lawn. Sorry, I realize that could have sounded like the grape lawn. It's filled with grapes, and in the middle of it, you'll see Lucy stomping them. The Great Lawn is 55 acres or 22 hectares. That reservoir I mentioned earlier, this is where that was originally was constructed for the Croton Aqueduct system. We do still have a reservoir north of it that's still there that has a terrific jogging and walking path around it, by the way. But the reservoir this particular one was decommissioned in 1931. And like I said, that upper part still remains. And the area was filled in to become a lawn with sunbathers, picnickers, kite flyers, softball players. There are 8 softball fields. It looks like, are there any? Oh yeah, I think we might have some games going on tonight.
Oh yeah, turn the chat off, Diane. If we put a picture in or something, we'll let you know to open the chat back up. But I don't think we have any pictures on this tour.
This is also home, the Great Lawn is also home to some of the hottest concerts in the city. Diana Ross, Elton John, Simon and Garfunkel, Garth Brooks. They also do terrific free concerts in the summertime. The Metropolitan Opera, or the Met Opera as we talked about earlier, as well as the New York Philharmonic, both do concerts here. I believe it's the Philharmonic one, right, that ends with fireworks as well.
July,
yeah, which is really terrific. They actually do, the Philharmonic does a concert in each borough in one of the parks and it ends with fireworks during the summer. A very prime spot for picnicking is the Great Lawn. And there's our first glimpse of the castle, the Belvedere Castle. We're going to go up there. Yeah. Sometimes our signal gets wonky up there, but we're going to be brave and go for it anyway.
Yeah, right now I'll zoom in a little bit so you can sort of get a good shot of it. But we are going to go up there right by the castle.
Really
and get a good view of where we are right now.
And I'll talk about the castle when we get up there. The construction of it, the reason we have a castle here in the park, the look of it. And as we make our way over, I'll talk about Shakespeare in the park.
Sorry if I missed it. Did we talk about some of the major people that have...
I did, yeah. Diana Ross, Elton John, Garth Brooks, New York Philharmonic. And it's pretty terrific when these concerts happen here. The lawn fills up pretty early. Some of them are ticketed events, but it's really quite fun.
Oh, thanks, G, for putting in that link. That's a link about the reservoir that used to be here.
Oh, great.
It's a great lawn.
Yay. So as we make our way over here, you're going to start to see the wonderful open-air venue here in the park, known as the Delacorte Theater. This is where Shakespeare in the Park happens. Now, Shakespeare in the Park is run by the Public Theater, which is an off-Broadway theater, a terrific off-Broadway theater, and they help produce the productions that happen here in the park. Joe Papp founded the Shakespeare Workshop in 1954. And in 1960, they started performing on the lawn right in front of the Belvedere Castle, the castle that you just saw just a little bit ago, on the lawn right in front of it. And then in 1962, the Delacorte Theater was born. The first production in that new theater was The Merchant of Venice, starring none other than George C. Scott and James Earl Jones. You can see some statues here in front, The Tempest and Romeo and Juliet. Ah, Romeo and Juliet, the lovers, right there. Now, it is named in honor of Valerie and George Delacorte, who funded the structure. Delacorte also funded the Alice in Wonderland statue that we show on our Children's District tour, as well as the clock that we show by the zoo on the Children's District tour. It's 1,800 free seats. So the path to your right will line up starting around 6 a.m. in the morning when the park opens, and people will line up to get their free tickets. Now they're doing a bit of a digital line as well. So I think we'll see what they do this summer. But they've been doing digital and in-person lines as well.
The Delacorte Theater, I don't know if it's considered any sort of Broadway or off-Broadway. Well, certainly not Broadway.
Yeah.
And I suppose if you had to put it in one of those categories, it would be off-Broadway. But it's really just its own entity.
Yeah. They normally do 2 productions a year. My goodness, I already forgot what this year's are. I can't believe I'm blanking. We saw
I forget what they are too.
Yeah, we saw Merry Wives last summer, which, by the way, I don't think it's aired yet. I think it's airing this week, a PBS special about the comeback of live theater in New York, and it focuses on that production of Merry Wives of Windsor. Check it out. I think it's going to be pretty terrific. If you're a fan of the TV show This Is Us, Susan Kalichi Jones, I think that's how you say her name, was in that production, and so she'll be highlighted in the documentary as well.
I'm just going to turn around because it's lit so beautifully. There's the Delacorte Theater, and that little stone house there, those are the restrooms
Yeah.
for the Delacorte, which I think is so charming.
Well, let's make our way up to the castle, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, by the way, when we get up to the castle, as long as the pavilion, there's one pavilion we can walk out into, as long as it's open and not closed for an event or a restoration or something, we'll see inside the theater as well from that pavilion. But Belvedere Castle was envisioned by Calvert Vaux, one of our two park designers, in 1869. Originally planned to be an outdoor viewing pavilion with no doors or windows. Now there is a part of it that does have doors and windows and is a visitor's center. Has a little small winding staircase that you can climb up as well to get to an even higher view. Since 1919, the National Weather Service has actually collected meteorological data from the top of the castle, and it's made of Manhattan schist.
Oh my goodness.
My goodness.
Put the wrong teeth in today.
I really can't talk today. It's unbelievable. Quarried from right here in the park. That's the bedrock of Manhattan, the Manhattan schist. As we make our way up, you can even see how it kind of shimmers a little bit on either side. Now, this is when our signal sometimes gets wonky, so bear with us, because it's worth it for the views. I'm out of breath.
I know, right?
So this was originally built on what was known as Vista Rock.
The Belvedere Castle, Doris.
Yeah, Belvedere. Originally built on what was known as Vista Rock because of its vistas. That's Fifth Avenue you're seeing, or the Upper East Side, and along Fifth Avenue you're seeing there in the distance. Now, prior to the castle being built here, there was a fire tower in this here on top of the rock. And this is the pavilion we were talking about. We can make our way over here. We'll see some cool sights from up here. This is Turtle Pond. So, kind of
Signal's jumping around a little bit, but
I think it's probably getting good and bad, but we'll stick with it. That's Turtle Pond. That's where we saw the turtles a little bit ago. And we'll come over here. You can see inside the Delacorte Theater. And they're prepping for their summer season already. Yeah, sorry, our signal dipped again, but we're going to stick with it because it'll pick back up, and hopefully every now and then you catch good shots of it. It's worth it. The signal does get wonky up here for whatever reason. So it's actually not a castle. It's a folly, a fanciful open-air structure that serves no purpose. So they really should call it Belvedere's Folly instead of Belvedere's Castle. But it does still serve a bit of a purpose. A few of them we've talked about already. But another thing that it did in its early days in the park, you have to think about the trees not being this tall. So you would see the castle on top of this Vista Rock in the distance, and it would draw you in further into the park. Yeah, I don't know how much it is to rent it out. It's probably very, very expensive.
I'm sure it's pricey. If people want to have private weddings, I'm sure you can,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's pretty pricey.
Everything's got a price.
Yeah.
Permit, you can just pop in, and if your wedding's only about 20 minutes, no one's going to say anything. But technically, you do need a permit, and they're only about, I think it's $25 for a permit to get married in the park. But if you wanted to rent out a section, then that would cost more.
Yeah, oftentimes you see some good friends of ours got married in the park, and they didn't get a permit. They only had a handful of people, and they just found a quiet spot and said, "I do," right there.
Yeah. Do you? I do. All right, we're going to make our way through the Shakespeare Garden. After the Shakespeare Garden, we're going to head over to end our tour over at the American Museum of Natural History. We have about 5 to 10 minutes left in our tour. Now, the Shakespeare Garden, where we're headed next, we're going to turn left right here. We came from the right, by the way. That was where the Delacorte Theater was. And now we'll turn left and continue into the Shakespeare Garden. So, throughout this garden, fans of the bard will recognize flowers that are highlighted by his work. Now, there's little plaques indicating the flowers and where they appear in his work, but since everything is so grown, because it's so lush. Oh, I can smell some of the flowers already, can't you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This charming little stone path through the Shakespeare Garden. So cool.
So this little garden was created in 1913 by the request of the Parks Commissioner at the time, Charles Stover. I almost said Russell Stover. I almost do that every single time. Oh, here's one of the plaques right here, actually. Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In the cowslip's bell I lie. From The Tempest.
Those little plaques are all throughout this little Shakespeare Garden.
Yeah, they kind of appear by each of some of the, not each, but a lot of the flowers as you make your way through. This is about 4 acres, this little garden, or about 1.6 hectares. And it's designed to evoke the bard's countryside. And again, this was by the request of the Parks Commissioner in 1913, Charles Stover. He was a massive fan of Shakespeare. Look at that azalea there, beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Massive fan of Shakespeare, and his office was then in the Swedish cottage, which you're going to see right here as we kind of round this corner. Here's the Swedish cottage coming into view. So his office was in there, so it made perfect sense that he could be working in there and see this beautiful little garden outside of his window, again, designed to evoke the bard's countryside. It is a prime destination in the spring and early summer because it is majorly a bulb garden, a perennial bulb garden. As you can see, all the alliums popping in. But it does bloom throughout the summer. We've got some roses coming into view that'll probably be here all summer. It does feature a working sundial as well. There's even a whispering bench further up the garden where if you sit on one end of the bench, you can hear your friend sitting on the other end. You can whisper to them. Oh, look
so
at
if you have
these.
like a secret love,
Yeah.
you could whisper
Like,
sweet nothings that only they could hear.
yeah. Look at these, all these purple flowers. How perfect. And behind that is the Swedish cottage that we just mentioned a little bit ago. So it was actually imported to the U.S. in 1876 as Sweden's exhibit for the Centennial Exposition. Noah, so good to see you. Congrats on your show.
Hi, guys.
I love you. How's it going? It went well. You record-breaking numbers.
Oh, you're.
I love you. Our friend
Do you
Bob.
mind if we show you? We don't have
Would you like to wave hello?
We just ran into a friend in the park. So here we are, our friend Bob.
Yay!
You never know who you're going to run into any given time. So good to see you guys.
I will. Yay. So he actually produces and directs a major Broadway concert every year, known as Broadway Backwards, and they just raised almost $1 million for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, a major organization. And it's just remarkable. The concert was on Monday night, and that's him with his little boy. So back to the Swedish cottage right here. So this was imported to the U.S. in 1876. Our signal dipped a little bit.
It's jumping all around our signal.
So originally it was to be a prefabricated schoolhouse.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn around.
Oh, sure, and walk. Yeah.
Just to show the long shot of that's the entrance to the Shakespeare Garden, which is so lovely.
And then the cottage comes
here,
to view. So it was originally designed to be a prefabricated schoolhouse. One of our parks designers, Olmsted, caught its eye at that exposition in Philadelphia, and he paid to have it brought to the park. It's had a lot of uses. It's been a tea room. It's been a nature center, educational center. Now it houses the Marionette Theater Troupe. It's been there since 1947. And they not only do performances here in the park, but they also do them all around the city. They have a little puppet mobile that they take all over and do them. We're going to cross over. Let's see. Oh, I think we're good.
All right.
We got it right now. We're crossing over. So now it's kind of great because sometimes we'd like to talk about the Central Park Conservancy right here. And there's not always a good view of what we're talking about, but they've got some of the trucks here for us. They moved them into view knowing that we had a tour coming. So the Central Park Conservancy is private, a not-for-profit organization established in 1980 by New Yorkers who were saddened to see the park's integrity and beauty had declined a bit. Has an annual budget of $80 million in order to keep the park up to its current standards. And the vast majority of that money does come from private donations. But they still get some city funding as well, of course.
Oh gosh, Shoshana, I don't know. Maybe it's the Americans' version of what Swedish looks like. Even though it may not be perfectly Swedish.
Yeah, I mean, it was, in the mid-1800s. We also just passed over the bridle path, which is a 6.1 mile path, dirt and gravel path, or just under 10 kilometers. That is a horseback riding path, although you don't see as much horseback riding in the park anymore, but it is allowed, and that is the bridle path right there.
There used to be a riding school in the West 80s that closed down not that long ago, and you used to see a lot more horses on the bridle path, but they still keep it, and some people do from time to time use the bridle path.
And we're making our way up the hill here to our final location, the American Museum of Natural History, a museum that has 26 interconnected buildings, 45 permanent exhibition halls, a planetarium, and a library. Teddy Roosevelt was one of the founding members of the museum. It originally was in the park in 1869. The new building opened in 1877, designed in the Victorian Gothic style by Calvert Vaux and J. Ray Mould, who also did where we started our tour, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So they kind of bookend both ends of the park. The main entrance is actually in the Beaux-Arts style. That actually came in 1936 by John Russell Pope. And there's a new annex in the rear coming right now to the tune of $350 million. It's known for its model of the giant blue whale that you might be familiar with. It also has one of my favorite Christmas trees in the city at Christmas time. They have an origami Christmas tree that features 1,000 origami cranes, as well as hundreds of other origami creations that feature museum exhibitions.
That's that original section that we're talking about down there.
That Calvert Vaux did. So we're at the end of our tour. I'm so sorry that I'm gonna have to run to work. My show is at 7 o'clock tonight, and so I have to race to the theater.
We'll make our way to the subway as we say goodbye.
While we're making our way there, we'll tell you that tomorrow morning we're doing the High Line. Friday we are doing our Pride tour of New York City. I know it's a little bit before Pride month, but Patrick's going to be gone the whole month of June, so we can't do it in the Pride month.
I think I'm so sorry, this chat's going by fast. Someone said, what show? I think you're talking about the show Aaron's going to. Aaron is currently in Mrs. Doubtfire on Broadway, which finishes up this Sunday. I'll be going to the closing performance, which is exciting.
True. Yeah.
So that's what show he's running to.
And Saturday morning we're going to be doing Coney Island, a tour at Coney Island. And Sunday we're doing our food tutorial, iconic New York City foods. If you want to know about any future tours, you can click that follow button at the top of the screen, and that'll let you follow anything that we post, any new tours that are coming up. You'll get notified when those get posted.
That's right.
And I think that's all we have to say.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone, for joining our tours. So many of our Hago friends from around the world join our tours often, and it feels like we're meeting up with friends, and thank you for coming back to us. We love doing these Hago tours. It really has saved us over the last couple of years, especially during the pandemic, and we know that it's helped a lot of you as well. A lot of folks during the shutdown we're staying home to stay safe, and we're staying alone. And so please know, I say this often, but you're never alone, even if you are physically alone. You have this incredible platform, and us, and all the other fantastic guides like Dave Kay. Go join Dave Kay's tours in Dublin, because he is terrific, and you will not regret it. But
okay, yeah. Join Dave Kay.
Okay, yeah.
We're here. We're at the subway.
All right.
I'm going to hop on and make my way to work.
All right, we'll leave you with this nice view of the garden right next to the Natural History Museum. Thank you all so much for joining us, and come see us again soon. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.